All right, peace and blessings, guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Wanted to do this video at a time where if you're watching this in the morning, that you have gotten all the rest of your little videos out the way that you're going to watch, because this is one that's very important. I want to talk to you guys about one of the most important things you can do if you are found or you find yourself recording with artists such as Dr. Dre or anyone that's a superstar producer or artist, okay? So as I'm on my way personally to a studio, I'm running a little behind. I'm not late, I'm just running a little bit more behind because I like to be at the studio prior to the artist getting there. I thought it was important to share with you guys the things. Thought it was important to share with you guys, and I apologize about that, guys. The things that you need to know in order to be able to keep recording with and for artists like Dr. Dre, because a lot of artists are very particular about who they work with and why they work with them. And I really want you guys to hone in on this, because this is very important to your longevity in the music industry once you actually work with one of your favorite artists, okay? So the first thing is first, speaking of me running a little behind, is always be on time. One of the things that always happened with me and my brother working with Dre is being on like the bat call or the bat phone, right? So Dre would call and say, hey, you know, need you guys in the studio. Sly would come get me. Most of the time we've been and just came out the studio and possibly only got maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep, but have to get right back up and be at the studio. So the number one thing to do is always make sure you're on time. That is the number one key, because when you're working with artists and you're working with passionate artists like Dr. Dre or many of these guys, man, they're real passionate about their music, and when they're ready to start, they're ready to start. So make sure that you're there before they get there so that you can prep yourself as a producer, songwriter, whatever you're going to be doing, and get ready for the session. Something too, be prepared. Always be prepared when you're in the studio, guys. You know what I mean? If you're the producer, make sure you bring, you know, all of your tools, whatever it is you may be using, your machine, your laptop. Make sure you have all your sound banks in place. Make sure you have everything working and functioning, because there's nothing like getting in the studio and not having what you need, and then you're sitting there basically twiddling your thumbs, okay? So make sure you always bring your tools with you, have everything you need prepared for the session. Something else which is easily overlooked, no matter how much you want to, right, and engage in the festivities and the laughing and joking and shit, do it, but do it minimum, because there's nothing more important than an artist than to sit back and watch you fuck off on their money. Because contrary to what you believe, if you're in the studio with an artist, he's paying, or their record label's paying, which is still him, the recording time, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, a lot of artists like to chop it up and BS, you know what I mean? Some artists nowadays, you know, they smoke in the studios, you know, a lot of times you're distracted by the drinks, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes there are females in the studio, but never be too out of the loop and mentally in a situation where you can't understand that at the end of the day you're there for a job, all right? So make sure that you stay focused. You know what I mean? A lot of times there's, you know, beautiful women in the situation. Oftentimes there's a budget in place that allows you to be able to drink, eat, things of that nature, which I'm going to go to the next subject. But always make sure you stay focused, because when you're working with someone like Dre, you know what I mean, he understands the camaraderie, he understands, you know what I mean, that we're going to laugh, joke, chop it up, you know, there's going to be some downtime, right? But at the end of the day, what he do know as a businessman is he's spending his money, all right? So make sure that you are always aware that you are on the artist's dime. You are on his money or her time, and you know what I mean, they're trying to get things done, okay? So make sure you focus on that. Now, I brought up the budget aspect of things. When we work with Dre, there's always a budget for us to go and eat, you know what I mean? And most of the time, the food is being delivered by interns that are in the studio. Why am I bringing this up, and why is it relevant? Because I've seen many people take advantage of that situation, and even though there's a budget, or Dr. Dre he's given us a budget to eat, and you know what I mean, most of the time the studio is already filled with liquor and the things that a lot of artists need in order to get into their creative flow or juice. I've seen a lot of people take advantage of it. I mean, what I mean by that is people who don't even really have nothing to do in the studio or isn't that important running up a tab. You know what I'm saying? So don't find yourself that person that runs up a tab. Make sure that you eat, of course, because you need your nutrients, and they understand that you need to be focused. Some people can't work unless they have something on their stomach, and so they want you to be able to focus. The artists want you to be happy, but do not take advantage of the situation because there is a budget. In other words, don't go full Monty. Don't be, spending $200 or $300 on one damn meal or food that you're not going to eat. All right, guys. Something else I want to say to you. Never bring the crew. Don't be bringing all your crew. If you have somebody that is, that you can trust, that, is going to have a purpose with you, you understand what I'm saying? Even if that's wifey, right? Don't be bringing all your crew, man, because here's what happens when you bring the crew and everybody else who don't have a purpose, right? And they don't have anything to lose. They're going to try to outshine you because they don't have anything to lose. They're trying to figure out where their place is in this whole situation, and oftentimes they do the dumbest stuff. I've seen guys come into the studio, man, I've seen guys get shot in the studio, you understand, over dumb stuff because they want to show out, or fights, happen in the studio because these cats are trying to find their place, or they're trying to be down, or they're trying to impress people. So don't bring people to the studio with you that does not have a purpose, okay? Again, even if you bring in management is fine. If you're bringing, someone that's relevant to your team, just make sure that they have a purpose, because when you bring them extra people, it really annoys people like Dre. You know what I mean? So we didn't bring people like, first introductions is one thing, if I'm bringing in wifey or family members, you know what I mean? And I know that we're going to have a light date. Of course, I want him to meet the family, or I want the artist to meet the family. But that is a very special occasion because we already built up a relationship with Dre to be able to do that, okay? So make sure that you understand that. Don't be bringing the homies and crew. All right, something that's very important. Once the session starts, once you hone in on the session, you hear the track, or you lay the track down for that artist, or whatever your role is. Let's say you are a writer, a ghostwriter, you write, whatever it is you do. If you are not at that engineering board, if you are not the recording engineer, do not be standing over his shoulder. Do not be standing. That's the worst thing you could do, is stand over a person's shoulders, because what it feels like, well, firstly, there's several different reasons. Some producers or engineers, they have certain things that they've mastered, that they specialize in, which is their, trademark. There's a lot of producers and engineers that have certain ways they have learned to record, certain little things they do to tweak that makes them unique in the music business, or, the recording session, and they like to keep that firstly. So that's one reason why you don't understand it over his shoulder. Secondly, it's very annoying to have someone over your shoulder, okay, outside of the artist, because it's almost like you're checking on them, you know what I mean? And it's, let them do their job is my whole point. Let them do their job. And also, if you are the producer or the engineer, you want to make sure that you're not, you of course be cordial, and speak and talk and do your thing, explain the process, right, to somebody who's new or a newbie. But, make sure you have your space that you can work, you know what I mean? You don't want to put that person under pressure. Something else. Drink plenty of water. If you are a recording artist and you're laying vocals, and or if you are the producer or the engineer in the session, make sure that if it's your studio, that you can accommodate artists like a Dr. Dre or Snoop Dogg or a Kendrick Lamar. Make sure that you can accommodate them. Know all of the restaurant locations. Make sure you have somebody on hand that can go and get the food for the artist. Make sure that you have water at the studio, or juice or tea, especially maybe the coffee. You know what I'm saying? I don't even drink coffee, but the coffee pots. Make sure you have coffee pots. You know what I mean? Different types of water: spring water, distilled water, alkaline water. All these different things, because artists are very peculiar about what they put in their body a lot of times. Then you have the artists who don't give a damn, of course. But artists, most of the time, are very peculiar about their body. Some of them are going on tour. Also, because they're getting ready to go in the studio, many times they need water to help warm up their vocal cords and also lubricate the vocal cords so that they can get that sound that they want out of their voice. So make sure that you accommodate the artist the best of your ability by having all of the just basic essentials. You don't have to go all out with it, but make sure you want to have some things like a couple teas that they can choose. You know what I mean? These things don't cost much, guys, but these are things that if you are the producer or the recording studio that they're going to be recording out of, you want to make sure that you can accommodate them on, okay? Vice versa. If you are in the studio and you're going to be laying vocals, background support, whatever it is for the artist, you want to make sure that you have that as well. If you don't think that that studio is going to provide that, then I want you to make sure that you provided yourself for your artist or for yourself. All these things are very important. Something else, when you are recording with artists, stick to the topics, stick to what's going to make them happy and get the job done, man. Again, I've seen a lot of producers go in the studio and get starstruck. They lose themselves in the moment because they're working with a Dr. Dre, or they see, Kendrick Lamar come in the studio, or Common, or any of these people that I've seen in the industry, and they get starstruck, and then they lose it. You know what I mean? They lose focus. They're trying to tell their story. You know what I mean? Listen, they're not there for that. They don't want to hear your story. Not at that moment. They're there to work. Show them that you have great work ethics and that you're worthy to come back. That's the key, man. Don't be trolling. Don't be trying to be fucking joke. Be you, of course. But just make sure that while you're in the fucking moment, man, that you're enjoying yourself, but you're there to do a job. That's the real key. Last advice I can really give you is, once the job is over and you find yourself in a good place and everyone is happy and satisfied, this won't be the last advice, because there's several other things you need to know. But once that particular job or project is over, make sure that, you align yourself up, of course, to know how this thing is, how the recording studio is going to deal with the process of split sheets if the song is chosen by the artist. I've seen many a times songs are made, like with Dre will have 1,001 songs, right? And what happens is those people that are on the session, a professional recording studio, will make sure that they sign in everyone that is in the session so that they'll know who was there and who's supposed to be on the split sheets. So you make sure that you know how that happens. Don't do it before. If you're dealing with a professional artist, you definitely don't want to be that person who's nagging about split sheets, okay? But if you are in a professional studio, then it's something that you definitely want to chop it up with the interns on, or whoever's recording, to find out how do they actually acknowledge people on the project. A lot of times your acknowledgement and your split sheet relevancy is based on how the engineer saves the track. So oftentimes when they put in the metadata, they're actually putting in who composed, who was the track makers, who were writing songs, things of that nature. So make sure that you find out at least the details, but don't be someone that's just a real what's the word?
2 miles. Take a slight left turn to merge onto I-75.
Make sure that you aren't the one who's real, pesky about it. You know what I mean? But for the most part, again, the key part that I want you to really hone in on is be yourself, right? Just don't go hard in the paint, all right? Don't go too hard. And if you meet someone like a Dr. Dre, or even myself, if you're in the studio, love work with you guys, you know what I mean? I'm going to always share, because that's me and who my personality is. But just make sure that you're not overbearing, man. That's the real key. Because people like him don't like that at all. So like I said, I'm on my way right now to a studio for to work on an artist. I'm in Atlanta. We're here to work on about 3 or 4 tracks, and hopefully we'll get them all done by tomorrow. And this is going to be just round 1 of how to work in the studio. I'm going to be, I can't show you guys or record while the artist is actually recording, because of course you don't want songs leaked. And that's something else as well. When you're in the studio, guys, do not record sessions. Make sure you always get permission from the artist and everyone that's in there before you record. I know many a times people, you know, get excited. You on Instagram and Snapchat and all this other shit, you know, to show people who you're working with. Make sure it's okay. You know what I mean? If you want to do anything, you know, like Dre is real cool about that shit, right? You know, he's cool as long as that isn't in the work session, as long as it's not affecting the workflow, you know what I mean, and it's the proper time. Well, that's the best way to say it. Make sure you find the proper time to get your photos and things like that in. If that's the case, do it before the project starts. Most of the time with people like Dre will dip out of a recording session, you know what I mean, to go take a phone call, and that's actually him leaving completely, you know what I'm saying, going home and letting you do your job, and he expect, you know, to see the results afterwards. But if you feel like you want to get a photo, make sure it's all right. Ask, you know, hey, you know, do you mind if I get a photo with you? You know what I mean, just to, you know, memorialize this moment. You know what I mean, they understand, they really get it, you know, that you're working with them. They're also excited to be working with you, you know what I'm saying? So you know, they look forward to seeing the photos of good times and recording sessions online or on your Facebook page or Instagram page. You know, you tag them in it, you know what I'm saying? It's just do it the right way, you know what I'm saying? Don't you know, don't be a butthole about it, you know what I'm saying, and become, you know, real. That alone and as well determines whether or not you'll be able to work with that artist again. Okay, so these are little things that I just want you guys to key in on and pay attention to and make note of, because it's very important that you hone in on situations like this so that you can have opportunity to work again with artists like Dre and whoever else you're working with. And I'm just using Dre as an example because, of course, not many people get a chance to work with a billionaire producer who has changed the game and has made some of the most popular names in the game today, who, in all honesty, Dre will tell you it wasn't him that made them, it's them that made him. You know, he's always been humble like that. But I just want to share that with you guys, man, so you can have the tools and understanding what you should be doing if you're going to work with a professional artist, and, you know, what to look out for, what you need to be aware of, because doing the music is one thing, producing the music is one thing. If they find you worthy of being in the studio, then they already know that you have talent, okay? Or maybe you are working with a producer who is the one that they chose, and he's bringing you in. Whatever the situation is, just be appreciative of the situation and also be respectful to different artists' energy. And some artists are extra, you know, above the top. You know what I mean? You'll see and maybe hear some crazy things when it comes to, you know, things that artists are into, you know, as far as how they may have to have it. Don't let that affect you. You know what I mean? Because this is your business. It's a business for you. And you understand that, you know, once people get to a certain plateau, that their level of wants and needs become higher, and sometimes they're so eccentric that we can't understand them. So don't let that as well be a part of your ideology about an artist, or have you on some rumor type shit, because that's the one thing they do hate. Artists hate to be their personal information to be divulged. So make sure that you're one of those people that are very honorable, and that you're not going to be divulging, you know, studio practices and or certain trade secrets that they may have, or certain tics they may have. A lot of artists have tics. You get what I'm saying? So make sure that when you're in that situation, you are not the one that is revealing all this other stuff. You get what I'm saying? So these are, you know, just little things, man, that I want to share with you guys, man. I appreciate all you guys and your comments. I already know that you're leaving comments. I can't look at your comments because I'm driving and it's not safe. But I appreciate any comments that you guys have. Thank all my new subscribers who have tuned in on the channel. I want to give a big shout out, of course, to Mario Townsend, BK Bangers, you know what I mean, Spadazo 100, all you guys who followed me and continue to follow me. If I don't get your name, you know I'll shout you out. But yeah, guys, you know what I mean, this is just part one. Throughout the day, I will be recording more videos, and I possibly will be going live. This is one of the reasons why I didn't drop a video this morning, because I knew I was going in the studio and I wanted to give you guys these jewels and tips. So with that being said, what I'll do is later on when I start recording, I'll go back over this particular video, see if there was any questions relevant to what I'm talking about right now, so that way when we get it in on the next video, I can answer those topics or those questions, excuse me, and then hone in. So this is just part one of how to act and record with your favorite artists. I think what I'll deal with next is how we record. And what I mean by how we record is our recording methods. You know what I mean? Like what makes us who we are, or just give you the basics of recording, you know what I mean? Like, you know, stacking vocals, panning, how to pan, what you should pan, levels, things of that nature. I'll go into that. But let me say this to you guys, for everyone who's here, if you have not signed up for music-millionaires.com, make sure you do it, because we're getting ready to change this thing all up, and I'm going to be going hard. Complete tutorials and courses. Everyone who's already signed up will be grandfathered in, but the price is going to go up, guys. It will not be $100 anymore for the lifetime access. We're going to go up because I'm getting ready to bang out a bunch of videos, and a lot of it's going to be behind the scene. When I'm with artists, it's going to be, you know, tutorials as far as publishing, understanding publishing, the proper way to do it, how to maximize your songs, how to get publishment, how to get placements, how to utilize YouTube to get placements. Everything that I talk about in my videos now, but just more. I'm taking it to the next level. So make sure you sign up and take advantage of the $100 fee, because you'll be grandfathered in. If you don't, you're definitely going to pay a lot more. Because I understand that I'm giving away a lot of information with these new series of videos that is going to be exclusive to Music Millionaires. With that being said, guys, again, leave your comments or questions in the chat so that I can check you out later. If you are watching the pre-recorded version of this and it's no longer live, then make sure you leave your comments in the section below. If you're a professional engineer or artist or producer, and you can relate to what I was saying in this video, share it with everybody in the comment section. Let them know your personal experiences and give them some more advice if you have any to give. Spadazo 100, I already know you're going to do it, so go ahead and do it. I had to call you out, little brother. Anyway, look forward, man, to work with you guys, man, in the future, man. If you guys are in Atlanta, look out, because we're getting ready to throw a conference for you guys. Or if you're in the area, if you're in Florida, if you're in Georgia, if you're in South Carolina, if you're anywhere close to Atlanta, we're looking at a tentative date of October right now. Oh, by the way, since I said that, make sure if you guys are in the Chicago area, any of you guys in that Chicago area, or you're close by, check out my man Big Vic. Big Vic is going to be holding a conference, and he's going to be chopping it up with you guys about how to dominate the social media platform. He has mastered this Instagram thing, guys, and he's really getting a lot of traction on that, so he wants to share that. And so it's me and Big Vic, we're going to be teaming up, and we're going to be doing some conferences in you guys' area, in some major cities next to you, and we're going to be really giving it all we have to give you guys the complete advantage. So make sure you check out Big Vic on Instagram, Big Vic TV, and sign up for that conference if you're in the Chicago area. With that being said, guys, I'm running late again. You know what I mean? I got like 45 minutes to get to where I need to be, and I need to prep before I get there. So look out for the next